Hey guys, it is July 25th and it's Monday, and I am doing a 4 years and 7 months on testosterone. I missed June. I apologize. I was supposed to make a video the next week, and things just happened, and by the time I get home I'm just really tired and just haven't done it. I apologize. So, changes. You probably are looking at me right now going, what has changed about Ethan? And it's my hair. I told Tony just to shave it 1.5 on the sides, do a 5 on top, blend it, let's be done with it. We are in triple digits here, between 105 and 110, and I wear a hat, usually in the sun, in this heat, so there was no sense in me putting money out on a haircut. Anyway, I've talked about how fingernail shapes have changed, how my toenails have changed. Of course, hair has come in more. My testosterone levels have been on the upper highs for once in 4 years. I've got about 3 or 4 months of 900s, and they're right now sitting between 7 and 8, which is a good thing for me. It wouldn't have been I wouldn't have been satisfied with that in the beginning, but now that things are actually happening for me, it's okay if it kind of tapers out and just mellows out for me. I had something else. What was I going to talk about? Changes. Anyway, the knuckles here. A lot of times on the videos, I will see guys, that's who I watch, with like dark knuckles, and always took it for maybe hygiene, but just in the last couple months my knuckles have started getting dark like that, and I start scrub and it's not coming off. So I don't know if that's just something that happens, evidently. I don't know if any of you have looked at your skin and look at your hands and checked for hygiene. It's just something that always triggers me. I'm gonna sneeze, excuse me. Maybe not. I'm a very picky person as far as hygiene. Fingernails, if you're gonna wear them long, clean them. When my fingernails get to where they start showing white, I trim them, just because I don't care for fingernails. And unfortunately, my fingernails, I have to trim them 2 to 3 times a week. They grow so fast. And that was before T. My sisters and my mom were always jealous. They had to use the fake nails, and I could have grown mine out because they're hard, strong should I say, and I would have had no problem. Fat redistribution. Since my levels were in the 900s, my estradiol level was ranging between 40 and 42. I don't like that range for estradiol, but I didn't want a chance with my inconsistency on T levels. I really didn't want a chance knocking my dose down and then ended up back at 300 and have to start over again. So I kind of held on, but the fat on my hips and my butt has really been bothering me. And so I contacted my endo when I was out of testosterone and said, hey, can we do labs, see where I'm at? And she had previously talked about a patch. And so my labs were between 7 and 8 for testosterone, and my estradiol level was up. So I asked her, can we lower the dose? I like my T around those range, but I'm not liking the estradiol being so high. And she wrote me back and said that estradiol levels take a long time to even out. And I didn't really get into what she sent me because sometimes I think doctors, the studies that they show are not necessarily transgender people. It's just in general the hormones, and I think it differs for transgender people. I will go back on there and look at it and see if the research has been done with transgender people. It might be MTFs that she's talking about. I don't know. Anyway, so we just kind of left it at that. She said, let's check it in 3 months. And so if my testosterone doesn't drop, and it will normally, but if it stays in that range and my estradiol level kind of stays in that range, I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and take it for what it is and just try to reshape my body strength working out wise. So I'm receding and I'm really thinning on top. Tony cutting my hair, she can't believe how thin I am on top. And I said, well, you know, it's the testosterone, but nobody's bald in my family, and they all have a lot of hair. But I also have Hashimoto's, and that loses hair too, and they have not my levels for thyroid has been hypothyroid for a good solid 2.5 years now. They have not dropped, or they have not dropped. Yeah, that's what. Because hypothyroid, when your levels are high, that means it's hypo. When your levels are low, you're more to average or hyper. So anyway, I don't know if it's that, so I'm not really going to sit here and blame testosterone for all of it. I do know that emotionally, this past week, we have been remodeling my mother-in-law's bathroom. What started out to be a little repair, I found termites and stuff, and so we've tore the walls down and I've rebuilt the studs and killed. There's no termites anymore. They did die with the spraying, but I just went ahead and resprayed the boards, and we got her a new vanity, a new faucet, new walls, paint job, new flooring. So she's really loving life. We have the molding and baseboards to put on tomorrow, and then we'll be done with it. But in the meantime, last week while we were putting in 8-hour days, my stepdad was admitted to the hospital with strokes, and I do say strokes. And then the night he was admitted to his private room, he had a heart attack, and they had to do an emergency angiogram. And 2 of his bypasses collapsed, so they had to put stents in those and stuff. So anyway, we've been kind of remodeling during the day, hospital, dealing with what's going on there, and it's just been, but emotionally going through those things, interacting with people at the hospital and stuff, I don't get that that inside of me voice saying, oh, I wonder what they think, or just kind of being nervous about, interacting with people as you transition. I have just become more confident and more subtle in my changes and comfortable. So comfortable. And I don't even really get all high anymore when someone addresses me as Mr. or Sir or him or whatever. It's just a part of me now. It feels good to just be myself, and I think it just gets more comfortable. I've got a buddy who's 7 years into transitioning, and it's just the only time transitioning actually comes up in his life is when he's at group with us, and that's somewhat true for me. I'm not there yet. I know that the night of the angiogram, all of his family was there. We're not close to his family. He's not close to his family, but in the midst of crisis, family gathers. And he had a sister from out of town, and his youngest daughter was out of town. They were all down, and none of them, only a couple of them had known me as the person before, the daughter and an aunt, but none of them really knew me prior. And um, it was just, I wasn't real nervous. I wasn't, you know, I was comfortable in myself, and I did get a look from the his sister-in-law that lives here in town. But my mom told me she got the same looks from her when she didn't know her at first. She doesn't think it's anything bad. And then my mom said, well, I guess that's just what you have to live with for transitioning. I don't think she meant it negatively. And I wasn't really complaining, I was just sharing how I felt. But on the other hand, I agreed with her. Yeah, I know. It's, it's part of transitioning. And I didn't take it any further than that. But nothing negative happened during that time. I just noticed that I don't worry about it like I used to. I don't really have the attitude or think in the way that, well, if people don't like me, they just don't have to. I don't think that way, but my demeanor's that way, if that makes sense to you. I don't premeditate my moods and my reactions and stuff. They're pretty spontaneous. Sometimes not for the good. But, yeah, so emotionally I'm just becoming a lot more comfortable. I do find myself thinking in a black and white world sometimes, and I question myself when I do that. And it's not about not understanding situations. It's just about sometimes I feel there's no gray areas in life. And I'm not talking about gender, I'm not talking about sexual orientation or anything like that. Just sometimes life itself. Well, when it comes to ethics, when it comes to morals, there's no gray shade. It's black or white. Either you are ethically balanced and respectful and proper, or all your training in your childhood, if there was any, has gone out the door and you're just a selfish SOB and don't care. Morals are the same thing. Either you feel guilty when you have to take something from someone that wasn't called for, or you don't. If you're selfish and don't see yourself as selfish, but yet you don't do the things that you want people to do for you, that's just black and white to me. And there's no negotiation in honesty and liars and crime and heroes. Is black and white. So there are some things that I deal with, and I try not to judge anyone, but I always question myself when I might be thinking a little different than other people. I'm learning to step back before I speak. I've been very good in my life about lecturing, and a lot of it's been because I think I have good morals and good ethics, and I have a positive way of thinking. I'm optimistic, and sometimes with the family members and friends and acquaintances that I interact with are not always that way, and I try to inspire, and I have a reputation for that. But I've learned that not everybody wants to be inspired, and not everybody wants to change for the good. And I'm really learning that by listening, stepping back and listen, and watching people's reactions and demeanor and conversation, what they bring up in conversation and how they hold a conversation. So I'm really, evolving even more. I love the fact that I do not have to sit and feel that I need to be a nurturer for everybody. And I think females get that naturally and don't even realize they do that a lot of times. But I think it feels good that I'm just sitting back and listening to everybody, and I don't have to be involved in that conversation. And I wasn't like that before. I was always involved. My family is a strong-headed, women are controlling in the family kind of people, and so opinions are very, if you like it, you like it, if you don't, oh well. and I've really grown out of that prior to testosterone, but I've been able to even move away from that more with testosterone. My mind just can't keep up with everything. It just bounces. It's like a ping pong. It's waiting for the paddle to hit to the next wall. I cannot multitask and I cannot multi-think anymore. So everything's good. I'm getting ready I need to get off here because the time's running out. But I'm sorry for the late update. Everything's still going good. I'm doing okay. I'm going to do a post-op stage 2, 7 weeks right after this one. So if you want to stay tuned, we'll talk to you. Oh, stay tuned. Wait a minute. Take it one day at a time and always make your journey as simple as possible. See, I'm out of practice. Take care, guys. Bye.